Alright, let's do this.
Hey guys, it's John here from ZonGuru and welcome to Amazon Insight Seller Series. It's a series where we interview Amazon sellers who are crushing it on Amazon. And it's just a chance for us to learn from them, to hear from them, and really use that information to fuel our own Amazon business. So with that, I'm really happy to have Anthony Bui-Tran here with us today.
Hey guys, so me and John basically met, 5 months ago now?
Yeah.
It's only been 5 months, but we've gone around the world to, let's say, we met in Vegas, and then we
At
went
the Prosper Show. Yeah.
At the Prosper Show, and then we met in Hong Kong and Canton for, in China basically for the Canton Fair. And then this past weekend we were in Seattle hanging out for Seafair, and then now I'm here in LA, just kicking it in the hills of Hollywood. So thanks for having me, John.
Thanks man, it's great to have you here. And yeah, it's just having you here. We just thought we'd do a Facebook Live because you're here in person and spending the week kind of gallivanting around Los Angeles.
Yeah. So you want to hop into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. So why don't you, Anthony's been selling on Amazon for about 3 years now as a private label seller. And it's fantastic to see that he's already achieved selling over $1 million a year in revenue on Amazon. And he's also part of the seller tradecraft community as well, just really helping to grow that and helping to give back. So I've known you now for those 6 months or so, and it's or 9 months I think it is, but it's just great to see your business sense, your sense of your genuineness, your sense of transparency, and just your understanding of technology and of the private label business. And it's just great to see how you've grown over this period. So I'm excited to have you here, and I'm excited for you to share a little bit of your story and some of your insights with our group today. Oh, and don't forget, guys, I decided today that if you like our page and you share it with some of your friends who would like this content as well, we'll put you into a draw to win an Amazon Echo Dot each. We just thought this would be a great way to help me grow my community, and I wanted to reward you guys as well for participating in that. So just like the page, share it with a friend who you think will like it, and then in the next 48 hours we'll announce a winner. So that's enough talking from me. Let's kind of get into it. Yeah, so let's just start off before we kind of go into the questions. Maybe give us a little bit of background. It's been a 3-year journey, but tell us a little bit about that. How did you get into it? How did you start?
Yeah, so it all started when I was an eBay seller, and I was just tired of shipping 100 boxes to say like each individual customer every single day. So the way it worked is I found Amazon FBA, and through Amazon FBA, they're like, hey, you can ship one giant box with all 100 items, and Amazon will ship it to each one of your customers for you. And this was when I realized, like, sure, like Amazon is going to take a cut, but I'm gonna save so much time to where I can focus on growing the business versus like working in the operations of my business. But at this time, I wasn't really doing PL, but like I kind of knew there was like a value in, say, like the return on time of going with Amazon's method. And then from there, like I started honestly with retail arbitrage and online arbitrage and wholesale, and then private label.
It's a great way to start.
Yeah, and I think it's a great way to start, get your feet wet on Amazon, and to like truly just like understand how the whole ecosystem works. And it's a great way to build capital for your business. So RA and OA and everything like led all the way up to me just building my capital for like my private label business, which is what I mainly focus on now. But RA and OA, there's definitely really good money in it, and there's definitely good opportunities in it. I just never truly got really good at it compared to like how I am with private labels. So focus on your strengths, right? And that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's kick off with that first question. It's what are your top tips in choosing a product? A lot of the people listening today probably haven't started or going through that. One of the biggest challenges we have, which is how do I look through all this white noise and how do I actually find a specific product that I would like to start selling on Amazon? So what are some of your tips?
So one of the ways that I choose a product and like make sure it's like unique and like real valuable is I make sure that it's different. That's like the key thing on Amazon. If you're selling a like Me Too product, then it's gonna get a little bit competitive because they're selling the exact same thing as me, and then we're gonna compete on price and like pictures. But if you can make your product different somehow, it doesn't really have to even be like creating like a new mode and making a new functional design. that would be ideal, but basically what you can also do is you can create a multi-pack, a bundle, right? You can create like different variations in terms of color, and also like really understand like who your target demographic is. So say you're selling to women, right? There's certain colors that appeal to women more than men. So understand who your target demographic is of the people buying your product. And one way you can actually do that is like just go through the customer's reviews. And then you click on the customer's review, you click on the customer's profile pages, and you can kind of see like what they left reviews on in the past, and it kind of also leads to like other little rabbit holes of like, oh hey, if this person bought this, they might be interested in this product. And it also tells you like, hey, these are the type of products they like to buy, and kind of gives you a profile of who the person buying it is too.
Awesome. Yeah, and you know, for longevity's sake, you know, you have to differentiate in some way. Otherwise, you could start with something and it's like, hey, it's great for like, you know, a month or two, and then there's so much competition, you lose your margin, and you could end up in a cash flow problem as well. So, you know, it's a big thing to absolutely differentiate. Okay, so that's a top tip. Let's go on to the next one, which is just a fun one. But what is your genius work life hack? What are some ways that you kind of make your life easier and you know, return on time? Yeah,
exactly. So I've only been doing this, I guess, full time for the past 5 months, but it's really important to kind of be disciplined now, especially that like if I'm not bringing in money, it's like my fault for the business, right? I can't really blame like my boss or something at work, because you know it's different now. You're an entrepreneur, and you really do have to take all responsibility for everything. So one of the things like I've been doing a lot more is really just planning out my day, but I don't do it when I wake up. I actually do it the night before. So the night before, I write down some items that I need to do, and what it does, in my opinion, my brain kind of thinks about it. Like when I sleep, I think, and then when I wake up, it's kind of like I already know what I need to do. I'm not like sitting there for like maybe like 15 minutes in the morning, like, hey, like I need to do this, that, or like, what do I need to do today, you know? So you start the day just like hitting the ground running, and it just gives you a little bit more clarity on like what you have to do. And in addition to that, I realized that I am more productive in the mornings. Even though I'm not like a huge morning person, I am more productive in the morning. So the one way that I started like getting up earlier is actually by going to sleep earlier. You know, like who would have thought? So preparing for, basically in general, preparing for the next day starts with like the day before. Like you want to prepare for everything in advance. And one of the ways that I do, so people have alarms for like waking up. I have an alarm to like tell me to wind down and actually get ready for bed. And that's always actually really helped me in terms of like going to bed on time, and then like unwinding and writing down all the notes that I want to do for the next day. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think you know, in the mornings, I think just adding to that is once you prioritize your things, is do the most important things first. And one thing that has helped me is not to go in and start looking at emails first thing in the morning. Like if you do that, you can destroy your whole day and just start running in different directions. Like you've got to be disciplined and set that aside, and train everyone that in the morning, you know, you're going to take some focus time and really hit your big projects. Because once you've done 2 of the things on your list, the big things, you know, everything else is smooth going. So exactly,
it's a great tip.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to think about like what's that one big thing that you have to get done that day. Like what's that one big thing that, because you can keep yourself busy all day. Like as an entrepreneur, like there's always something that you can do, but you want to be working on those key things that are gonna like grow your business and improve it. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So next question: what is one of the best things that you learned this week? So this past weekend we were in Seafair. We were at Seafair in Seattle, and we had like a little mastermind group. And you know, everyone's talking about their businesses, and one thing I realized, you know, as an entrepreneur, to really scale your business, you have to have systems and processes in place. So I kind of have that in place, I think, but there's only so much that I learned from like my corporate job, and that could translate to, I guess, a digital business, right? So it's a little different. The concepts are still the same, but to actually be in a group of people at our mastermind event that kind of just shared like, hey, this is what I do. One of the examples was they stored all their documentations for like their systems and processes and standards operating procedures on like a Google Drive, and they had it organized in like a certain way. And their whole team just used like the whole G Suite of like Word and Sheets. So instead of like just emailing back and forth like Word documents and spreadsheets, like it was just always updated live. And I realized that's like a huge time saver. Like me and my team actually just emailed the files back and forth or use Dropbox. But when we're on a call, it's just so much easier to just hop on. And I realized like looking back on it, like it'd be easier if we just did it through the Google G Suite. And then it's just like being able to really understand like how you can have these like systems and processes in place is gonna like really make it to where the business can run without you. And that's ideally like what like I want, and like I think that's what most people want, and that's why people go into Amazon business, right? Because we want that freedom, but it doesn't happen out of nowhere. You do have to have things set up and the right team in place to like do that. But even if you don't have the right team, if you have all the systems and processes in place and documentation there, then you're like a lot closer to like running a business where like me and you don't have to be there.
Right. Yeah, those standard operating procedures, and just having the discipline to, even whenever you have a new process, sit down and record a video using Loom or whatever it is, and just record the whole process. And if you do that up front and then add it to whatever structure you have, I think that's.
Do you want to
really
tell them what Loom is?
Oh yeah, Loom. So Loom is just basically, it's almost like a Chrome extension that you have on your browser. I think it's Loom. What is it? Loom.us.
The website's called useloom.com.
Useloom, yeah. And literally, you can just click on it and you can start recording yourself or your screen. So if you have a new process, you can just go, "Hey guys, I just want to take you through this new process," and you can walk it through, record that, and then literally it stores in Loom, or you can download that file and put it into whatever system you have. So anybody else, in your team can just watch that video and have, it's evergreen, it's there for life. So if someone else comes to you later and is like, well, "How do you do this?" You can be like, "Watch this video."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's honestly my favorite tool that I only like use when we first met. Someone was talking about it, and just record my screen and record myself talking on the screen, and I realized it's just so much faster than typing, and you can convey like the tone in your voice and like a little bit better to like really highlight like what they need to do, and it makes it a little bit easier for communication, especially when you have VAs that are overseas.
Brilliant. Okay, that was a great learning for this week for sure. So any advice for new sellers? Sorry, I think that, are we back? I hope we'll be back. So any advice for new sellers? Advice that you wish you knew when you started?
I think the biggest thing with new sellers, and it also happens to me too at times, and then I realize it's happening, it's that we get stuck in just like learning stuff, right? And what I mean by that is like we're just consuming content all the time, of like listening to podcasts, is watching YouTube videos, going on Reddit, going into Facebook groups, like reading these different posts. But we never actually get to actually taking action and doing stuff. Because to me, like, as you go through stuff, as you go through the process of like selling on Amazon, you run into the roadblocks that you need to figure out. And you won't realize those roadblocks are there until you start taking action and doing stuff. So the faster you like just start doing stuff, start ordering those samples, or start getting things ready, and you're like, oh, I need to like get a freight forwarder, or I need someone to consolidate all my samples to save money. You don't really think about those things until you start going through the motions, right? So just start going through the motions, and you'll learn so much more from just doing that than from just like reading all day,
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's only so much that you can read and consume, so just take action and just like really go through the motions.
Is that saying, if you don't do what you know, then you don't know,
Yeah.
Which is, you can learn as much as you want, but if you don't take action on it, there's no point in actually knowing that information anyway. So action is absolutely critical. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So what else we got here? What's your number one reason why you love this business?
I guess it all ties down to freedom, and just to like clarify it, just like we met like 5 months ago just because I was in Vegas, and then for Amazon business, and then I realized like, oh, you guys are going to China, maybe I should go to China too. And I was like, okay, well we can work from anywhere, which is awesome. And then so I ended up going to China, and the business, like, you can still run it from anywhere. So we're there, and then next thing you know, we're in like next time we're hanging out, we're in Seattle. So we're working in Seattle, and then next thing you know, we're hanging out here in LA, and like it's just nice being able to work from anywhere, visit other friends, and the community of like Amazon sellers. It's definitely something I've personally never experienced as I don't know, I guess an entrepreneur in general, but it is like a close knit community, and there's tons of people out there that I really enjoy hanging out with, and that's why like when I go from city to city, like I try and meet like people in my community. So on Monday, actually on this Monday at 7 p.m. we're having a meetup in LA at EP and LP.
Yeah, it's a rooftop bar. Mm-hmm. It's a great little spot, and you're getting a bunch to come out there. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll put the link in the description below or whatever, and yeah, feel free to come out. We're gonna have a good time, and it's just like the best way to like meet other Amazon sellers is in person, and the best way to learn is actually in person, because there's just something about the connecting like in person versus online that makes like a huge difference. So I really try to go out of my way to like visit my friends, like this for example, and just connect in person. It's just that much easier to like just learn and like just enjoy things.
Yeah, it's definitely a tribe, and it's a everyone, there's a commonality, and when you're in person, there's just this energy that comes, because you're just like, there's this thing about selling online in a product-based business, which is most people do it because one, it's a great way to create wealth, but one, it's a great way to have a lifestyle and design your life how you want to. And so when you connect with these people, and everyone's like adventurous and wants to enjoy life, and it's just you get this energy which is amazing. And I've also completely enjoyed it, and it's an amazing community.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so your latest craziest adventure.
So we already know where this is going. So when we were in Seattle,
it's probably the craziest adventure of all life.
Yeah, it's definitely the craziest things I've ever done, and it also ties back down to just being involved in the Amazon community because of the people I met, right? So our friend Michael Quinn he's from this little town called Sequim, right? And Sequim is Washington. So we get out there, and basically there's these airplanes. Biplanes.
Biplane. It's got a wing at the top and a wing at the bottom.
Yeah, and like the propeller in the front. So there's
1940.
It was a 1940 plane, and basically we're strapped up by one harness, like just one steel cable, and we're flying in the air. Basically, me and John both did this. We're flying there, so then next thing you know, like we're climbing on top of the plane. It's like part of like the whole event. So we climb on top of the plane, and this is like while we're like 5,000 feet in the air, and the plane's just cruising. So we climb on top, and now next thing you know, like I'm sitting on top of the plane, and the plane's doing corkscrews and like going up and down, like doing all this crazy stuff. It's the craziest roller coaster I've ever been on, and it would have never have happened unless I met like other Amazon sellers in person. Like if I never like really got out of my space to like go meet people in person and go connect, right? Because when you connect with people, it leads to like the most crazy things, like we call it wing walking, right? It's called wing walking. So we were wing walking on top of these planes. But yeah, it wouldn't have happened unless like I really went out of my way to like meet other Amazon sellers in person and just make those relationships. So, that was never gonna forget that one. But there's this one move where they go up, and then you get to this, it's called hammerheading, where you get to this almost free floating feeling, and you're just like up there, and then it just drops and you go straight down. It was pretty nuts, but it was definitely worth this. So finally, I think the last question, we'll end it pretty soon, but tell us a quick story related to your business. It could be fun, it could be a lesson, it could be anything. So this so this basically was like a horror story for me. Like I was like, I was like a horror story. Yeah, basically I was like sweating for like the last like 3 weeks or so. So I sent a wire for $100,000 to overseas to my supplier in China, and this is the biggest wire I've ever sent, like by far. And to me, that's a lot of money. It's a good chunk of change for sure. And I accidentally had a typo, right? So yeah. So instead of spelling it like D-I-A, I spelled it D-A-I, right? So I literally just like misspelled one word. So my client, my team in China, couldn't get the money, So basically, the money was in limbo, and I had to call my bank. I had Wells Fargo, and the way I resolved it is I had to do like an amendment. And the amendment basically works. What they do is they like tell the bank overseas, like, hey, there's a typo, like we need to change it. But you don't really know if the other bank is gonna get it or what they're gonna do with it. And they were telling me, Wells Fargo was saying, like, worst comes to worst, they're depending on the foreign bank's policy, they're allowed to like keep the money if there's like, you know, if they can't find the right person or there's a typo. So my biggest worry was just like sitting there. I was like, my client's not gonna get the money. They already gave me credit for the inventory. Like, this was the money that was supposed to be paid for them. Like, what am I supposed to do? And it's normally when you send a wire, it's what it gets there like in 24 hours or the same day, depending on how it works. So it actually took 3 weeks for like the whole process to like work out. The moral of the story is double, triple check like your wires when you're sending them, especially when you're sending it to like a new supplier or manually. Because most of the time I send it online and I have like their information saved. But this time, because the amount was a little higher, they asked me to come in person and like do it in person, and basically that's what happened with the typo.
Yeah, I know that feeling of wiring money, which just feels out of your comfort zone. It's so much, and one way I try to get around that feels shitty, but it's just like how much I'm giving that 100 grand, but how much is that 100 grand actually going to make me? And when you realize and you switch your head and you think, okay, that money is actually going to make me this much, it's a lot easier to push that button. But yeah, I agree. Double checking is an important thing.
Yeah, don't mess up like I did.
Yeah. Thanks. That's it. So thank you, Anthony. That was very helpful for me actually, and I'm sure helpful for the guys watching. And there'll be some more stories coming, and you know, we do this once every 2 weeks. We have this Amazon Seller Insights series. We did one. This is the second one. We did a guy called Eric Dahl a couple of weeks ago, so that's on the page as well. Watch that. He's got some great tips, and we'll keep doing this. And don't forget that if you do like the page and share with a friend, you go into that drawing for 2 Echo Dots, which we'll do in the next couple of days. So thanks from me.
Yeah, thanks Sean for having me. Like, I'm really excited to be here in LA in the beautiful hills of Hollywood. You can't see them, but basically
I can show them real quick.
Out the window, it looks amazing. Yeah, you should show them.
Hopefully you can see that. I don't know, but yeah, that's
it's
overlooking
pretty nice.
the hills.
It's pretty nice.
There's a Hollywood sign back in that corner over there.
Yeah, I don't think the photos or the video might do it justice, but
yeah.
Oh well.
All right, see you guys.
See ya. Hit that finish.